Welcome to World Traveler Cooking, where we cover interesting cuisines and interesting foods from around the world. Today, apologize again for the background sounds. The calls for prayer are going on. It seems a little early today, but I don't know if that's because it's Ascension Day or not. But that is what it is. Today we are going to make a Chinese dish that's relatively famous, but sometimes a bit unknown. This is a dish from Sichuan called mala, although I'm probably butchering the pronunciation because I don't know what the tones are. Mala literally means spicy numbing sauce, and this is a mixture primarily of chili pepper and Sichuan pepper. If you make this, I dare you to eat, say, chew maybe a quarter teaspoon of these. They're not spicy, I'll just tell you that. They will numb your mouth. This is the numbing component, that's the hot component. Our ingredients are relatively simple. Actually, we have a fair number of them, but the process isn't so bad. About 50 grams or so of chili powder. You can adjust this more or less depending on the spiciness of your chili powder and how spicy you like it. Now, we'd start typically with like 2 tablespoons of crushed or ground Sichuan peppers. Today, because these are mostly empty space, I'm starting off with 3.5 tablespoons of whole ones, and I'm going to grind them. A teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of chicken stock, a teaspoon of sugar, teaspoon of cumin. Again, this will get ground. You can use ground if you'd like. Those are our dry components. For our wet components, we have about 8 cloves of garlic, about 20 grams of shallots. I'm guessing that's in the vicinity of 2 European shallots. I have like 12 Indonesian shallots. You can use a teaspoon of dry galangal. If so, you put it with the dry ingredients and treat it with the dry ingredients. I'm using fresh galangal, so I will put it with the fresh ingredients and treat it that way. I have 40 grams of bean paste. You can substitute about a quarter of that for fermented black bean paste if you like, but that's not necessary. I have 100 milliliters of boiled and somewhat cooled, but definitely not room temperature yet, water. And I probably have 150 milliliters of vegetable oil. So those are our ingredients. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grind these whole spices, and then I'm just going to treat all the dry ingredients together. I'll be right back. So the first step is I'm just going to take my dry ingredients and I'm going to mix them with the water. I'm going to stir them up. And then we'll just set this aside. This will make a paste, and this will rehydrate these various dry ingredients, which we will need as we move forward on this sauce. So look at that. There's our spice base. Now for the wet ingredients. I'm going to start by peeling and chopping the shallots and garlic. Similarly, we'll take our minced alliums, and if we're using fresh galangal, and we'll mix it with the bean paste to make our second paste. And we're just going to mix this together for a few moments, and then I'll be back and we'll start sauteing. And then the fresh ingredients and bean paste. It seems like a lot of oil for what we have, but remember, we have to add all these dry ingredients soaked in the water as well. So we're going to add this, and we're just going to saute this until it's nice and fragrant. This is now getting nice and fragrant, so now we're going to mix in our dry ingredient paste. And now we will saute this for just about 5 minutes, stirring it, working everything in, making a nice sauce base. And here you see the finished sauce. Now, since there's so much ground peppers in this, I could probably emulsify some water in it if I really wanted to, but I think this is normally just used more like a stir-fry sauce. But you can also use it like a chili oil. So, I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and then we will go ahead and take a taste test. And now for the taste test. I don't really recommend just trying straight mala sauce in any quantity because of the amount of chili pepper involved. We're going to go ahead and just have a tiny, tiny taste. So fortunately for me, I think, the chili powder that I used wasn't very spicy. Well, it's building up now a bit. But the flavor is totally on point. You get the citrusy notes from the Sichuan peppers. It's not making my tongue tingle. But you can definitely taste it. The sauce is very, very nice. Very flavorful. Just totally on point. Now, if you like this content, you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything else to say about this video, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Bon appetit, and see you next week.